Step away from the vehicle, now. I know you didn't buy this car. That's what he said, loud, certain, and just a little too eager. And in that moment, with the late Saturday sun glinting off the hood of that 1967 Mustang, you could feel every eye in the parking lot snap right over. Officer Derek Mitchell, one hand resting on his holster, eyes locked on me like I was already guilty of something. I guess I should have seen it coming, but no one's ever really ready for that kind of spotlight, you know what I mean? My hands went up, slow, deliberate, trying to keep the situation from getting worse. But you could feel it, that electricity when a crowd starts to circle, phones coming up like a chorus of silent witnesses. Everyone waiting to see what happens next, because they could all tell, this wasn't just about a car, this was something else. Place your hands on the hood, he barked, his voice echoing off the glass storefronts and BMWs. This vehicle matches a stolen car report. My bag slid off my shoulder, landed with a thud, and I just stood there, palms pressed to the metal, watching my whole life get sized up through the lens of suspicion. Inside the car, I could see my father's old leather portfolio on the seat, court documents peeking out. A boarding pass from D.C. barely visible. 10 minutes, I thought. Just 10 minutes till someone realizes Judge Washington is missing from that emergency conference. But in that moment, it didn't matter who I was, only what I looked like behind the wheel of a classic car that, in Officer Mitchell's words, costs more than most people make in 5 years. He made sure everyone heard that. Across the lot, a college kid, Amara, I'd learn later, was live streaming the whole thing, her phone shaking but her gaze steady. She was at 800 viewers, then 2,400, then 9,000. TikTok eats this stuff up. I tried to keep my voice steady, tried to explain, but Mitchell cut me off, hand on his radio. You'll explain to detectives. Registration, insurance, and proof of purchase, now. The crowd pressed in, some pretending to shop, others just flat out filming. And through the throng, an older black woman edged closer, worry etched in every wrinkle. That's not, she started, but Mitchell just shut her down. Step back, ma'am. Police business. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Chief Justice calling. Not like I could answer. Not with my hands still on that Mustang. Not while my father's memory was being searched for evidence of my guilt. And it all just kept building, back up on the way. Mitchell circling me like a wolf that smelled blood, making comments about who belongs with cars like this, never letting go of that doubt in his eyes. You ever feel that? Like your skin alone is proof enough? The live stream kept climbing. Amara's battery dipping, but she wasn't stopping. The comments, angry, disbelieving. All those hashtags about profiling and justice started piling up. That older woman tried again, pleading with the officer, but the crowd just held her back, no one wanting to be the next target. I was alone, surrounded, every second documented. Mall security showed up, radio crackling, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. Is everything under control? He asked. But Mitchell wasn't letting go. We're processing a potential vehicle theft. That word hit the crowd like lightning. Phones came up faster. And it was clear this was about to be more than a traffic stop. The briefcase with the state Supreme Court seal sat just out of reach. If I went for it, I'd look dangerous. If I didn't, I'd look suspicious. There was no way to win. So I waited, counting the minutes till my absence became an emergency in court. The irony? The vote I was about to miss, on police accountability measures. If that's not America in a nutshell, I don't know what is. Sirens cut through the air, 2 more patrol cars, blue lights strobing across the lot, faces in the crowd lighting up with the drama. Sergeant Reynolds stepped out, calm, seasoned, but still scanning the scene like maybe he didn't buy the story either. Possible vehicle theft, Mitchell said, puffing out his chest. Subject claims the car belonged to her father, but can't provide documentation. Reynolds looked at me. Longer, slower, and maybe something flickered, but he stuck to the script. Using the same voice that held order in a courtroom, but Mitchell shut me down. No calls till we're done here. Turn around and place your hands behind your back. The crowd erupted, some shouting, others silent, everyone filming. But right as it reached a boiling point, the woman in the crowd, Mrs. Dorothy Hayes, finally managed to push forward. That's Judge Kesha Washington, she shouted. Her father drove that car for years. I worked in that courthouse 40 years. For the first time, Mitchell hesitated. The crowd, Reynolds, even the reporters, They all looked at me, really looked. And in that instant, I felt the tide shift, just a bit. My phone buzzed. Chief Justice Thompson again. 3 minutes to vote. I met Reynolds' eyes, steady. I'm going to reach for my ID now. You can watch my hands. This ends here. The crowd went silent as I moved, every eye following. Every camera catching the exact second I opened that leather portfolio, pulled out the judicial ID. The sunlight hit the Superior Court seal, and in that moment, Mitchell's confidence cracked. You saw a black woman with an expensive car and made assumptions, I said, my voice never shaking. That's not protocol. That's profiling. The crowd exploded, not in anger, but in recognition. The hashtags started trending. The news anchor called for comment. And suddenly Mitchell wasn't the only one on trial. Every detail of his career, those complaints, those lawsuits, came to light as I laid out my credentials, explained the vote I was missing, the laws being broken in real time. But the real twist? The emergency conference I was supposed to attend. Yeah, that was a vote on Officer Mitchell's own federal civil rights lawsuit, filed by another woman he'd profiled a year earlier, right here in this same shopping center. Sound familiar? I asked, and his face went ghostly. The whole crowd felt it, history folding in on itself, justice demanding something more than apology. I gave him 3 options: suspend and face federal charges, retire with benefits, out of law enforcement for good, or accept a demotion, 200 hours of bias training, testify before the state legislature, become a case study for every new recruit who ever pinned on a badge. He looked at his hands, his cuffs, his whole career weighing him down, and after what felt like a century, he chose the third: accountability, education, service. In that moment, as cameras flashed and the crowd buzzed with the thrill of real change, I made him, and the whole city, a promise. Reforms would happen. Oversight would be enforced. Mall security, police, businesses. Everyone was on notice, no more hiding behind apologies. Even the private sector, seeing the writing on the wall, pledged new training and accountability measures. That's how systems change, from the inside out, when no one's looking for easy answers. 6 months later, Mitchell stood in front of the state legislature, telling them, on the record, how bias nearly ruined his life, how justice is more than laws on paper, how real reform starts with owning your failures. My own life kept rolling, mentoring young lawyers, driving that Mustang to court every Saturday, remembering my father's words: justice delayed is justice denied, but education is justice that endures. Mrs. Hayes chaired the new oversight board. Amara became a reporter, and that moment in the parking lot became the case study that changed everything. So here's the question for you. What would you have done when you see injustice? Let's talk. Because every voice matters, and every story shared gets us one step closer to a world where character wins over color, and justice, finally, belongs to everyone.